The ledger flickers at 6:12 a.m. Numbers shift then settle. Clean, quiet. On the private banking floor, no one speaks. Screens glow blue. Coffee goes untouched. A senior banker stands alone at a terminal that should already be locked by protocol. The system is mid-sync, straddling jurisdictions, offshore and domestic, a narrow window measured in seconds. He types once, then again. The balance corrects itself like it was always meant to be that way. Across the room, a junior analyst watches a timestamp change and then disappear. He refreshes. The anomaly is gone. The account now looks perfect. Too perfect. A client will wake up richer than the market allowed. A risk report will never flag. A statement will download clean, signed, and final. This is not theft. This is protection. That is how it is sold. That is how it survives. But when money is edited in real time, truth becomes flexible. And somewhere between the keystroke and the audit, someone always pays for the correction. Chapter 1. Clean books. The private banking floor opened before the sun. 6 o'clock lights came on in rows, cold and even, reflecting off glass walls and polished stone. No clients ever saw this hour. The work that mattered happened before the phones rang. He arrived early on purpose. The senior banker set his briefcase down beside his desk and did not sit. He stood, jacket still on, watching the system load across 3 monitors. Overnight feeds rolled in from foreign exchanges, custody partners, and offshore clearinghouses. The numbers moved fast, then slowed, then paused while jurisdictions argued with each other in silence. He checked the clock on the wall. 6:11 a.m. The window was opening. On paper, the process was automated. On paper, no human hands touched balances once the cycle began. In reality, the system allowed a brief grace period when data reconciled itself. A tolerance band, a buffer for latency. Everyone knew it existed. No one talked about it. He leaned forward and logged in. The system accepted him without delay. Senior credentials, relationship override, emergency access tied to client protection. Every approval he had ever received stacked quietly behind his name. A balance flashed yellow on the center screen. Negative movement from an overnight currency swing. Not catastrophic, not illegal, just ugly. He opened the ledger view. The numbers pulsed as if waiting. Across the floor, the junior compliance analyst lifted his head. The analyst was new, smart, careful. Still believed the dashboards told the truth. He had been running routine variance checks when one account tripped a micro alert. A timestamp hiccup, less than a second. The kind of thing that usually resolved itself. He watched the alert vanish. He frowned and refreshed the page. Everything was clean. The banker typed once, then again. The balance corrected itself, sliding back into the range the client expected to see. The ledger stabilized. The yellow warning faded to neutral gray. He exhaled through his nose. Not relief. Confirmation. This was the part that always felt surgical. No drama, no rush, just precision. A message popped up in the internal chat window. Thanks for smoothing the noise. Client appreciates discretion. No name attached, just an avatar that had never changed. A gray circle, offshore relay. The banker did not reply. He logged out and stepped back from the desk as the system sealed itself. 6:12 a.m. The window closed. By the time the junior analyst walked over, the floor looked like any other morning. Morning, the analyst said. The banker nodded. Morning. I saw a timestamp jump on one of your portfolios, the analyst said. He kept his voice neutral. Curious, not accusatory. Which one? The banker asked. The analyst named the account. The banker did not react. Cross-border latency, he said. Happens when 3 clearinghouses talk at once. I refreshed and it was gone, the analyst said. That is how latency works, the banker said. If it stayed, we would have a problem. The analyst hesitated. The balance improved. FX corrected, the banker said. Overnight mispricing. The client would have been exposed to noise. Noise, the analyst repeated. The banker met his eyes. Our job is to protect clients from noise. The analyst nodded slowly. He did not argue. He was not trained to. He walked back to his desk and logged the incident as resolved. Across the floor, phones began to ring. At 7:30 a.m., the client woke up. He was in a penthouse overlooking water that did not belong to the same country as his passport. His phone buzzed with a statement notification. He opened it while still in bed. The balance looked right. It matched what the banker had promised on their last call. Stability, protection, a buffer against volatility. The client smiled and set the phone down. He never saw the version that existed at 6:11 a.m. By 9 a.m., headquarters called. The call did not go to the banker. It went to compliance. A director wanted clarification on a variance trend. Nothing formal, just a question. A soft inquiry framed as curiosity. The analyst listened, took notes, and pulled reports. Everything matched. Statements were clean. Archives aligned with what clients had downloaded. No discrepancies. He closed the file and leaned back. Something still bothered him. At 10:15, the banker met another client in a glass conference room. The client was nervous. He always was. "I saw the markets," the client said. "My friends are down." "You are insulated," the banker said. "That is what you pay for." "I am not asking for miracles," the client said. "I just cannot afford surprises." "No one can," the banker said, "especially not at your level." The client nodded. "You always take care of it." The banker did not correct him. After the meeting, the banker walked the floor. He stopped by a workstation near the back, where archived statements were stored for regulatory retention. He did not touch anything. He just looked. Everything matched. At 11:40, another message arrived from the gray avatar. "Client satisfied, balance aligns with expectations, risk contained." The banker deleted it. He went to lunch alone. He always did. In the cafeteria, he sat by the window and watched traffic crawl past. He thought about the word protection. How often it had been used when he was trained. How it had followed him through promotions and bonuses and whispered praise. Protect the client. Protect the institution. Protect the system. He had never once been told to protect the truth. At 1:30 p.m., the junior analyst received an email that did not officially exist. No sender. No header. Just a line of text in the body. Check archived statements for download variants. Quietly. The analyst read it twice. He did not forward it. He did not print it. He walked to the archive terminal and pulled a random sample. He compared the stored version with a client downloaded copy from earlier in the week. They matched. He expanded the range. Different client, different date. Still matched! He was about to stop when he noticed something small. A formatting difference. A rounding note that appeared in one version and not the other. Insignificant, harmless, except it should not exist. He checked the timestamps. The archive version had been finalized seconds after the download version. He felt his pulse pick up. He looked around. No one was watching. He pulled another file. The pattern repeated. By the time the banker returned to his desk, the analyst was standing there. "I think we should talk," the analyst said. "About what?" the banker asked. "About corrections," the analyst said, "the ones that never make it into reports." The banker closed his laptop slowly. He stood. "Be careful," he said. "Corrections are part of the system." "Then why do they only happen during offshore settlement windows?" the analyst asked. The banker did not answer. The floor hummed around them. Phones rang. Printers whirred. Life went on. Somewhere in the system, another balance waited for morning, and the clock was already moving towards 6:11 again. Chapter 2. Quiet patterns. The whistle note never entered the system. It arrived the way rumors did. A forwarded sentence, a verbal aside, a question framed as concern instead of accusation. Compliance called it an informal trigger. Something to acknowledge without acknowledging it existed. By 8:15 a.m., an internal review was underway that no one would ever log as such. The junior analyst sat in a small conference room with no windows and a speakerphone in the center of the table. On the line were two voices from headquarters. Neither gave a name. Both spoke carefully. "We are seeing alignment where we expect variance," one of them said. "That sounds good," the analyst said. "Not always," the voice replied. "Pull correction logs tied to cross-border settlement windows. Narrow scope. Relationship portfolios only." The analyst hesitated. "Whose approval?" "You have ours," the voice said. "This call never happened." The line went dead. The analyst exhaled and opened his laptop. He did not search for errors. He searched for timing. Settlement windows came and went in predictable arcs. Offshore markets closed while domestic systems stayed open. Custody partners reconciled in batches. There were always gaps measured in minutes where data negotiated with itself. He overlaid correction flags against those gaps. A pattern emerged. Corrections did not appear randomly. They clustered. Tight groups of adjustments that aligned with offshore windows, always resolving before full synchronization, always small enough to fall under tolerance thresholds, always clean by morning. He leaned back and rubbed his eyes. At 10 a.m., the banker walked into a different conference room on a different floor. This one was larger, with heavier doors and frosted glass. The client inside was pacing. "You told me it was stable," the client said. "It is," the banker said. "My other accounts are bleeding," the client said. "This one keeps floating." "That is why you consolidated," the banker said, "to reduce exposure." "You are saying I am insulated from reality," the client said. "I am saying you are protected from volatility," the banker said. The client stopped pacing. "And if someone looks too closely, they will see compliance," the banker said. "They always do." The client nodded, but his hands shook. "I cannot be the only one." "You are not," the banker said. That answer settled him more than reassurance ever could. Back in the conference room, the analyst ran a second overlay. This time, he compared archived statements to client download timestamps. He was not looking for mismatches. He was looking for sequence. The archive always came last, clients' downloaded statements. Then, seconds or minutes later, the archive finalized. Not by much. Not enough to trigger alerts. Just enough to allow a correction to overwrite history before retention locked. He marked each instance. 10 became 20. 20 became more. He checked the relationship manager field. Same name. He felt a tightness in his chest. At noon, compliance scheduled interviews. They framed it as routine. A review of processes, a calibration exercise. No one said investigation, no one said misconduct. The banker was first. He sat across from two compliance officers who had worked there longer than he had. They knew his resume. They knew his clients. They knew his numbers. "Walk us through your morning routines," one of them said. "I arrive early," the banker said. "I review overnight feeds. I flag anomalies." "And corrections," the other said. "And corrections," the banker said. "Who authorizes them?" the first asked. "The system," the banker said with intolerance. "Your credentials enable intervention," the second said. "Only when client protection is at risk," the banker said. "Define risk," the first said. The banker paused. He chose his words carefully. "Unnecessary exposure, mispriced volatility, noise." The compliance officers exchanged a glance. "Do you profit from these corrections?" the first asked. "No," the banker said. That answer came easily. "Do your clients?" the second asked. "They avoid losses they should not bear," the banker said. "That is not an answer," the first said. "It is the only honest one," the banker said. The interview ended without conclusion. At 1:30, the analyst was called in. He brought charts, he brought timelines. He brought nothing that explained how anything was done. He did not need to. "Why only these portfolios?" one of the voices from headquarters asked. "They belong to clients with offshore exposure and relationship override," the analyst said. "And why only these windows?" the voice asked. "Because that is when the system negotiates," the analyst said, "and when reality is flexible." There was silence on the line. "Do you have proof of intent?" the voice asked. "No," the analyst said. "I have proof of pattern." "That may be enough," the voice said. At 3 p.m. an email went out. Subject line, "Audit scheduling notice." No names mentioned. No targets listed. Just a date, tomorrow morning. Full systems locked during business hours. External reviewers on site. The floor changed immediately. Conversations dropped in volume. People closed doors. Phones were taken into hallways. Everyone acted like this was normal, which meant it was not. The banker read the email once and deleted it. At 4 p.m., another message arrived from the gray avatar. "Exposure risk increasing. Audit confirmed." The banker did not delete this one right away. "Stand by," he typed. He stared at the screen longer than usual. At 5:30, the analyst sat alone at his desk. He had not gone home. He had not told anyone. He watched logs scroll and thought about responsibility. He was not naive. He knew banks bent rules. He knew clients were insulated in ways no brochure explained. But this felt different. This felt like authorship. At 6 p.m., the banker walked past his desk. "You should go home," the banker said. "So should you," the analyst replied. The banker nodded. "Tomorrow will be long." "Tomorrow might be late," the analyst said. The banker stopped. He turned. "You are good at your job," he said. "Do not confuse vigilance with virtue. And do not confuse protection with truth," the analyst said. They held each other's gaze. At 7 p.m., headquarters called again. This time they did not soften it. "We will need a timeline," the voice said. "We will need names." "You will get both," the analyst said. "Careful," the voice warned. "This touches clients who do not like exposure." "So does daylight," the analyst said. The call ended. At 8 p.m., the banker sat in his car in the garage and did not start the engine. He thought about the first correction he had ever made. How small it had been. How grateful the client had sounded. How easy it had been to justify. He checked his phone. No new messages. Tomorrow, the system would lock. History would stop moving. Whatever existed in the archive would become permanent. He finally started the car. Above him, the building went dark floor by floor. Somewhere offshore, a settlement window closed. And for the first time in years, the banker did not know if the numbers would be there waiting when morning came. Chapter 3. When the ledger stops. Audit day began without ceremony. At 7 a.m., the systems locked. Screens across the private banking floor refreshed and froze into read-only mode. No edits, no tolerance bands, no grace windows. The numbers that existed at that moment were the numbers that would be examined. The banker arrived at 6:45 and stood at his desk without logging in. There was nothing left to do. The system would not accept him even if he tried. External reviewers arrived at 8. They wore neutral suits and carried identical laptops. They did not smile. They did not introduce themselves beyond first names. They did not ask permission. They asked for access. By 8:15, the archive was live. The junior analyst sat in a side room with a compliance officer and a speakerphone. Headquarters was already on the line. No pleasantries, no warm-up. Begin with the timeline, the voice said. The analyst took a breath. Corrections occur during cross-border settlement windows. They align with client contact and relationship manager access. Archive statements finalize after client downloads in these cases. Names, the voice said. The analyst gave one. Silence followed. Long enough to register. Proceed, the voice said. On the floor, the banker was called into a glass conference room. The auditors were already seated. One of them turned a laptop toward him. The screen showed a graph. Time on the horizontal axis. Account balances on the vertical. Small, precise movements marked in red. These align with your logins, the auditor said. Yes, the banker said. These movements do not match market data at the time, the auditor said. They match client exposure expectations, the banker said. The auditor did not react. He clicked to the next slide. Client call logs appeared, timestamps, duration notes. Each red mark sat close to a call. Coincidence, the banker said. The auditor leaned back. You had access during settlement windows. Yes, the banker said. You exercised it, the auditor said. Yes, the banker said again. For what purpose, the auditor asked. The banker paused. To prevent harm, he said. To whom, the auditor asked. To clients, the banker said. And to the bank, the auditor added. The banker did not disagree. At 9:30, the analyst was brought in. He sat across from the same auditors, now joined by a legal representative. The room felt smaller. Did you observe unauthorized access? One auditor asked. I observed authorized access used repeatedly under specific conditions, the analyst said. Did you observe fraud? The legal representative asked. I observed alteration, the analyst said. Intent is inferred from pattern. Careful, the legal representative said. I am, the analyst replied. They reviewed more data. Archived statements, download logs, corrections that never triggered alerts because they resolved themselves before finalization. The system had done exactly what it was designed to do. That was the problem. At 11, leadership convened. The banker was not invited. Neither was the analyst. Behind closed doors, the discussion turned quiet and precise. Disclosure thresholds, client exposure, regulatory risk, reputational damage. The word truth appeared only once, and no one picked it up. At noon, the banker received a message. Now, the room was empty when he entered. Then the head of private banking walked in, followed by legal. You understand the situation, the head said. I do, the banker said. You altered records, legal said. I corrected distortions, the banker said. Language will not help you, legal said. The head of private banking spoke again. You acted without explicit instruction. I acted within the system, the banker said. You created risk, the head said. I reduced it, the banker said. For clients, legal said, not for us. There it was. You will be separated from the firm, the head said. Effective today. The banker nodded. And the clients. They will be told there was a systems review, legal said. No wrongdoing found. The banker almost laughed. And the offshore intermediaries, he asked. Relationships will be quietly restructured, the head said. No further comment. The banker stood. Then the ledger stays clean. The head did not answer. At 1 p.m., the analyst was called in. Different room, different tone. You did your job, headquarters said. I documented what existed, the analyst said. Yes, the voice replied. And that is where it will end. Is it? the analyst asked. There will be an internal report, the voice said. Limited distribution. Lessons learned. And the clients, the analyst asked. They will not be disturbed, the voice said. The analyst felt something settle in his chest. Heavy. Permanent. So nothing changes, he said. Some things change, the voice said. Access will be restricted, controls tightened. But the truth, the analyst said, will be archived, the voice said. The call ended. At 3 p.m., the banker cleared his desk. He packed his briefcase slowly. No one spoke to him. No one stopped him. He passed desks where people avoided eye contact. He passed screens that showed balances frozen in time. As he reached the elevator, the analyst stood there. Was it worth it? The analyst asked. The banker thought about clients who had slept better, about statements that had looked right, about a system that rewarded stability over honesty. Yes, he said, and no. The elevator doors closed. By 4, the auditors were gone. By 5, the systems unlocked. The numbers moved again. In the following weeks, the bank issued a memo about enhanced controls. Offshore relationships were reviewed. A few intermediaries disappeared. Clients noticed nothing. The internal report was filed, redacted, sanitized, archived. The analyst kept his job. He stopped believing the dashboards. The banker did not contest his separation. He did not speak publicly. He took a consulting role elsewhere, advising on risk management. He was careful with language. At night, he sometimes checked markets and imagined the numbers moving without him. Untouched, unprotected, he told himself that reality would be better off. He was not sure, because somewhere another banker would stand before sunrise, watching a system negotiate with itself, waiting for a window measured in seconds. And when the ledger stopped moving, the cost would not be shared evenly. It never was.